All right, here we are. Everybody, welcome to the first Zoom. We got some light above me that I need to clean up. We got to see there's some people in the room. I'm going to admit them. There we go. Everybody get in. Hi. Let me see. What next? We have Walter and we have Julie coming in. All right, come on in. We have other people. What is with this hair of mine? I swear to God, I'm gonna have to get like hairspray. All right, I can't see everybody. Let me change the view. Speaker. I am recording. Hi, everybody. So I'm gonna, the way that this has to be done is that I want to just talk to people that are out there listening. Okay, so and then people will come on in. Just give me a second. So hi, everybody. This is one of the first times that we've ever recorded people that were ex-steppers or ex-members or people who went or were forced to go. And we're going to record people talking about the problems with Alcoholics Anonymous. And there were a lot of people who said they wanted to do it. It says you're going to be joining, but I got to turn this light down above me. Just turn it off. I got to figure out my lighting better. So, hi, Walter. We have Larry in here, Walter and Julie.
I'm in. Oops. There I am.
Right, here we go. All right, so Julie's joining and Tiffany's joining. We'll let people in, and I have it scheduled for an hour because I know people only have maybe an hour. Thank you, everyone, for doing this. And I thought, Luke, hi, Tiffany, meeting people that we've been blogging with for either a short time or a long time. For those that are watching on YouTube, there's many people who say lots of defensive things to defend Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's really, I think it's a really big problem that the regular people don't understand, that millions have been harmed. And one of my big fights still is that no one gets forced to go. Nobody gets forced to go to Alcoholics Anonymous who's a professional, nobody who gets the first DUI, and even nobody who's in a rehab or a sober living gets forced to go. So imagine if I went to a Catholic hospital and while I was getting treatment at the Catholic hospital, I would have to go to church.
Go to mass.
Go to mass. I mean, so it's really absurd. And it's starting to really see, I'm starting to really see the levels of cult, as much as people want to say that it isn't, how much it is. So enough about me talking, because I've done a lot of talking over the years, and I want to hear from all these great people. So I thought we'll just start, and maybe we'll just be mindful, okay, of the time of how long you talk. So maybe you could look at your clock and maybe just kind of talk for 2 or 3 minutes. And then there's enough people that if we want to come back, that you want to say some more, we could do it. So is there somebody want to put their hand up that wants to start? It looks like we have 5 or 6 people in here. Julie, it looks like you're trying to join. Maybe close it out and restart it. I know you want to get in here. So is there anybody who wants to start?
I will.
Okay, there we go.
I'm never shy.
Fine. Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, I had my own experience with being coerced. I have 2 professions. I'm a lawyer and a psychologist. So as a lawyer, I got into an issue where I was basically coerced to start going to AA meetings, and I never had been before. Even though I was a psychologist, I knew nothing about it really, other than when I was trained, I was told if somebody had a drug or alcohol problem, send them to AA and don't give them therapy. So that was about 15 years ago now, geez. So that started me on this path where I got really hacked off about what had happened to me and realized it was happening to lots of people. That's not long after that I met Monica, and I've been on this path for quite some time. That led me to start, connecting with pilots and doctors and trying to get lawyers interested in pursuing cases. I was pleased to see what the EEOC did recently.
Yes.
That's a big deal. It may cause people to get more interested. I'm still working on that issue to try to get some case law out there, dealing with doctors and pilots and other professionals. But it's become a big part of my life now. And only recently, actually, ironically, because of a jackpot I got to do again, moving to Palm Desert and taking a job with some pain clinics that turned out to be a disaster. I found myself suddenly unemployed and stuck in Palm Desert. And I managed to get a job working for Kaiser in addiction medicine. So for the first time, I'm identified
Wow.
as a professional working in addictions, which has been very interesting because
Right.
I have to be, Kaiser's reasonably progressive about certain things, but not about everything. So they do have a harm reduction group that they right away gave me the responsibility of leading, which was nice.
Wow, that's great.
So, but I do intakes, and I do, you know, and they are at least progressive enough that as part of their program, when people get plugged into recovery groups, they have a requirement that you do some outside meetings, but they allow people to go to Life Ring and Smart Recovery. They provide them with all the information.
Wow, that's progress. Wow, that's a big
So
deal.
Kaiser, just so everybody knows, is not particularly steppy. I don't think they're as progressive as they should be,
Yeah,
but that's been nice. So
that's good. That's really good.
yeah, so I'm doing that now, and I will probably do that until June when my lease is up, and I move back to Ohio and turn into a lawyer again for a little while. I'm about to hit 70 and I'm going to retire, sort of, but I can't afford to live in California. It's just too ridiculously
Yeah,
expensive.
it's nuts. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us today. All right, who else wants to go in? We have Blue Butterfly, Tiffany, Walter, and Julie. She didn't get in.
Blue Butterfly.
Yeah, nice name.
That is a nice name.
That's me, Monica.
Oh, hi. Hi, Evie. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's your turn.
All right,
my
well,
dog. Lou, be quiet. Kevin, can you like put him behind a door or something? I don't want to listen to this anymore. I'm so sick of this with the dog. Oh,
Oh,
Lord. All
you
right,
guys are
go
getting
ahead.
older. All right, the only thing I have to say is that I've been really watching a lot of Scientology videos, and I did watch The Vow, and I did see your podcast with the Freedom Model people.
Yep.
What was that, last week or something?
Yeah, that was last week, maybe. Or the,
Yeah. But the thing is, what's the guy's name in that, the Freedom Model?
Oh, Mark Sheeran and Michelle Dunbar.
Yeah.
What he mentioned was that Alcoholics Anonymous, when he went out on his own and did his own thing and was putting up flyers for his own recovery group way back when,
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous went after him doing this fair game kind of thing. Now, and that's what Scientology does. They do the fair gaming,
Right.
which is they harass, they try to get the people in trouble with the law. They do whatever they can.
Right.
So that was the first I've heard of AA behaving criminally.
Yep. Wow. Yep.
You know, so
well,
he's a good source, Mark. He's a good source for being fair gamed by AA. And then you've got the guy that Jack Trimpey. I don't even know if he's still alive. But these early people who did different programs, Tom Horvath, he might have a nice little story to say if he's willing about what happened to him when he first attempted to create Smart Recovery.
That's a good idea. Yeah, so I do know that Mark Hearn, I mean, Tom had told me that it was hard and he was like kind of alone, which is why they sort of came together, and then Rational Recovery like splintered, and that's when Smart Recovery began, moderation management. But Mark Hearn said, and maybe I'll call him too, that he was really ostracized in the community. So he wanted to work in addiction treatment. He really had a terrible drinking story and was able to stop, hated AA, became a professional, he has a PhD, wrote a book, and was really iced out of that community. And so I think that would be an interesting talk if maybe they talk about it in a personal way of how they were treated. But you know, so I was, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because there's a lot of similarities between, this is what I saw when I started watching these videos. There are a lot of similarities between AA, Scientology, NXIVM, right?
Right.
Scientology does the auditing thing where they hold on to the electrometer. Well, it's the same thing as doing a fourth step. You're trying to, purge and they're getting all these confessions from people and they're recording them. So they're getting a lot of, collateral, which is another word that was used in Nexium, collateral. The women had to give collateral to join the DOS group.
Right.
And so that's, kind of what I'm thinking is, let's find the similarities with these cults and, see if we can maybe work together with some of these interviewers who are doing these YouTube channels.
Yeah. They're doing a really good job.
To get it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
talk about these similarities.
Right. Well, the guy from the Jehovah's Witness contacted me and wants to interview me on his channel.
Oh, great.
And then I thought, well, I'll interview him on my channel.
Right.
Because I do, even though I've been at it like for 11 years now with this, I am seeing this heightened similarity that, so I watched all of Leah Remini's, the A&, when she was on A&E with Mike Rinder and the vow thing. Okay. But it was something about this season 2. And then I went back and rewatched season 1 of the vow and was like another level of like, holy crap. But it was something about them doing their own channels. And then I want to plug, so we have Mike Rinder is out doing a channel, right? I think he has this, he and Leah Remini have a channel.
He has a blog.
And then a little bit culty. That's with Nippy and his wife, Sarah. That is so they're on YouTube and they're doing a podcast. And then Mark Vicente just like started just sitting and talking to this, right? Like was what I've done. And I was like, oh my God, like this is really powerful, because then I started to see why the other people didn't have the exposure that Nexium is because when people leave Scientology, they're afraid. A lot of them are hiding. But then there's another guy, there's another channel. It's called I Grew Up in Scientology. And
I love that guy.
So do I. And he's growing and growing. And I was like, man, maybe I'll have invite him to be on,
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yeah. So I do think it's important. And I see we have 2 other people. So I want to let somebody else. Thank you for joining us, both Larry and Evelyn. Blue Butterfly, love the name. And Tiffany or Walter, do you want to say something? I'll unmute you.
I'm glad y'all brought this Scientology thing up, because it wasn't Leah Remini, but it was the other actress that's real famous. I forgot what her name was, but that's when it really dawned on me, is in the documentary of Scientology. She said they reprogram your brain until you no longer want to leave. And that's when it really dawned on me, like I'm in a fucking cult. Like that's when it really dawned on me. So I'm glad that you guys brought that up. But I added a girl to the group today. And she, she had a horrible relapse, and she had a DCF case, and her DCF worker was pushing 12-step meetings on her. And she finally actually found a therapist who was catching on with all these women with DCF cases who were getting sexually assaulted because DCF workers and caseworkers are ordering them to go to meetings and pushing meetings on them.
Wow.
And so this therapist in our area is actually doing more therapy and like helping these women, because she knows what is taking place and what is going on. And for me, they shunned me out because they found out I had my medical marijuana card,
Oh no.
Oh boy. Oh, that's such a
medicine. But it's not even my biggest thing is like, it's not even just plant medicine. That's fine. You want to shit on medical marijuana, that's great. But in my journey, for me, what has kind of replaced meetings is I volunteer for like a recovery high school. So in doing all of that, I actually attended a conference where the psychologist said, there was like a panel of people and one was a psychologist, and he said 70% of addicts are dual diagnosed. And so, these people are telling, at Narcotics Anonymous, they're telling them that they're not clean if they're on any kind of prescription medicine.
Ugh,
And we're talking people who have PTSD, people who are bipolar, people who have
yes.
multiple personality disorder. And that's a big fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge problem. And like, I wrote our local sheriff and even told him, like, look, the guy that sexually assaulted my best friend takes meetings into your jail,
Wow.
and our local sheriff has done some really good things, but, I have to even question his motives because, once the cameras were off one day, somebody made a joke about Narcan and told the sheriff, don't forget your life-saving Narcan. Like, when is it fucking funny that people are out here dying?
Wow.
So I have to kind of like, question who's really out there to help and who's really out there to get their campaigns funded. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my biggest thing is like the sexual assault and like the medication issue. Like it needs to be exposed, like, because people are out here fucking dying. They're killing themselves and they're going off their medication, and it's not okay. Like, some people really do need to be medicated.
Right.
As
Right.
much as
Oh, yeah, it's
much
none of their
as I'm
business. Yeah.
pro plant medicine, I believe there's plant medicine cure for everybody, but some people just aren't open-minded enough to go that route.
Right. Right.
So with that being said, I'll let Walter speak some since he hasn't spoken, but yeah, those are my two biggest issue. It just kills me that people really do require medication and they tell these people they're not clean.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming in, Tiffany. Can I ask you, what state are you in?
Florida.
You're in Florida. All right.
Or Orlando, Oviedo area.
Or Orlando. Well, I really appreciate you coming in to the Zoom. I think that this is there are topics that people get really upset and excited about just seeing the cult connection. So and the thing is that they like to say, well, we made literature that says we don't tell you, this is AA anyway. Oh, we don't tell you to not take medication, but they do, because no one goes in and educates all the groups and the members that it's none of your business because they think they know everything. But
Right.
if you're telling me that today in 2022, that people are told in Florida that they can't take a psych med, or, there's all kinds of medication. There's people who have true anxiety. There's people who have, they need their antidepressants. It's none of their business. And even plant-based medicine, if medical marijuana is legal in your state and that helps, then that's a medicine. So, and I think the assault part is criminal. The other part is, I guess there's a type of criminality, right? But being assaulted and this connection with these, maybe we can talk after again, or you can tell us more. But thank you so much for bringing it up, because these are topics that I think a movement has to be formed and they have to be stopped. I mean, we were calling Narcotics Anonymous in the beginning and talking to them about problems. And they're like, we don't have opinion on outside issues.
Other
Like,
issues.
it's like these one-liners they say, like, we don't have any opinion. I'm gonna
The slogan.
unmute everybody for a second so that you can just like, okay, when you hear that and you go, oh, yeah, we don't have an opinion on outside issues when someone's been assaulted or raped.
But if it's happening in there, it's not a damn outside issue. And this one guy who has a lot of time here, and he opened up like a whole little center and everything, he literally tried to embarrass me in front of this conference whenever I brought up the medication and sexual assault issue. And I said, if it's currently going on, it's not a damn outside issue.
That's right. That's right. Wow, that's bad. Hey, Walter, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the medication issue, because that's one of my absolute biggest pet peeves, and it's something that I was going to bring up as well. And you always get that same line from, oh, it's an outside issue, and people within the 12-step groups will always deny it and deny it. And I know that never happens. I've never seen that happen. I have people that'll be like, yeah, I've been in 12-step groups for 40 years and I've never once seen that happen. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
give me a break. Because otherwise, AA itself would not have put out that particular pamphlet that they did a couple years ago, which basically said, we've heard a bunch of incidents where people have been told by their sponsors or whatever to stop taking their doctor prescribed medication and have ended up committing suicide, which I mean, I don't know how their legal team actually allowed them to go and put out such a statement. I mean, that seems idiotic, but I mean, it's right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
They admit it.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what's
And you
going
know what
on.
else though? In that pamphlet, when they put it out, and I think that came, it was either when I was leaving or right after, it said, tell your doctor. So right after they said, our members don't tell people, then they went and told you to tell your doctor that you're in AA and you're in AA. Like they actually told you what to tell your doctor. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Who the heck are you? You don't know, like, what the hell? You just said this, and now you're going to tell members what they should say. It's like this. Yeah, sorry, Walter, go ahead. I mean, it's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, that's the type of stuff that makes it feel like it's some sort of secret society cult, and um, when you say that to other people, they're just like stunned and shocked. People who have never been around AA and like almost don't
It's not,
believe.
it's not just psychotropics. They do the same thing with pain medication. If you're in the
Yeah.
program and you're going to have a major, surgery, that they want you to tell your doctor, don't give me any opiates. And it's not limited to people who have an opiate problem.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
nuts.
I've literally met people that have said have had surgeries and told their doctor no, don't give them any painkillers afterwards because of what they the
Because
dog
they're an alcoholic. What does that have to
right
do with it?
right and under
You can't heal. You can't heal when you're in pain. So you're actually supposed to take pain medication right after you have the surgery. I had breast cancer, had a breast removed. I had a couple of small knee surgeries. You take it right away. And all the doctors say, you're supposed to take it when you're in pain so you can rest. And when you can rest, you can heal. But if you're always in pain, like especially with breast cancer, you have to take Valium so that your shoulders relax, and you have to take a pain medication so that you're not walking around like this, so that the breast implant is going to be whatever, and for your knees, they're so crazy. Walter, I want you to tell us the story about the girl who killed herself. One of the first reasons that brought you into the groups.
Okay, well, since it's going to be on YouTube and a little public, I'm not going to go into too much detail.
Okay.
But I had made a connection with a friend and a young lady in Minnesota, which of course is like the 12-step, capital of the world and the rehab capital of the country or whatever have you. But this young lady really struggled with a lot of mental health issues and was drinking herself, pretty excessively over it, had been to rehab multiple times again. But every rehab she went to, it was just the same thing. All they told you was go to meetings, work in 12 steps, get a sponsor. And it didn't work time after time after time after time. That's all she got and 12 times, like 12 different like rehabs.
Wow.
And they have that expression and you hear it often in like the 12-step rooms. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But yet this is what they kept pushing her through the same over and over again cycle that wasn't getting the same results. And unfortunately, at the age of 27, she passed away and never had gotten proper help that she could have gotten alternative help beyond join a call, and it was heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, that how many people end up, and that being the result of this is 12-step or nothing.
Yeah, there's somebody who was just posting in one of the groups about somebody who died like really quickly. It was really sad. So I think we all know, I know plenty of moms whose children have died from the body brokering, scandal or scheme that goes on in Florida and in California. And I do think that it's time, like we've come to, as many of us, some of us have been at it kind of a long time, Evelyn, myself, Larry, even Walter now, how many years, but I don't know. We still have Julie out there. Wait, I didn't hear from Julie. Let's hear from Julie before I continue on. You have something? Where are you?
Hi.
Julie? Oh, there you are, dear.
I
Hey,
came in a few minutes late, I guess.
nice to meet you.
I'm-
Face.
Hi. I'm actually home. Big change of plans today. But anyway, I'm here.
Nice.
I wasn't in 12-step long. I couldn't get past the first step.
Oh,
I kind of, I decided I wasn't powerless, but that was a long time ago. And I was in and out of programs. And then my first attempt at a rehab, I was on the phone with my paid therapist. And she said, well, if it's so awful there, why don't, there's this new thing. This is back in the early 90s. She said, there's this new thing that's kind of starting up. It's called Smart Recovery.
Wow.
So that was in the early 90s, actually. So I had heard about it and I sought it out while still, going in and out of 12-step stuff.
Mhm.
But right now I'm suffering from 12-step because my son is a stepper and
Mhm.
he's all but ghosted me because of a few reasons. Number one, my medication, some of my medications that I take, and he's sitting in judgment of his mom, but
I'm so sorry.
it's really hard.
That's really hard. Yeah.
It's really hard, and
Mm.
he has completely ghosted me.
That's awful. I'm so sorry.
It's wild. I'm
So
giving
it's a
his
lot like
father-
Scientology. So
Yes.
you're a
I was thinking
suppressive.
that.
Julie, you're a you should tell him, go watch some Scientology stuff. He's treating you like a suppressive.
SP.
Well, the whole thing is he's just not being honest with me. He's 65-year-old mother, and I think that's just a little twisted. I'm sorry.
There was a
I-
bleep. I didn't hear your whole sentence. Did anybody else? Can you say it again?
Yes.
What happened? I didn't
Well, he's sitting in judgment,
know. Mhm.
and I just find that twisted.
Mhm.
Well, the whole thing is
He doesn't.
judgmental.
I don't drink. I mean, I do drink beer occasionally now. I don't, I'm not drinking vodka 24/7, which I was at one time.
Mhm.
There were some really rough years, and I ended up homeless, and it was really rough when his dad walked out, and it's like my son is totally in his dad's camp, and that's okay, but
That's sad.
yeah, it's just
No,
crazy.
that's really sad. Is he your only child?
No, I have a daughter, and she was out of my life for a while, but she and I, we talk, and her name's Darcy, and Darcy drinks and smokes a little weed, and that's okay. That's her choice. She
Right.
can do that.
Right. It's not criminal. Yeah, it's legal.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Kyle, my son, he was in the cannabis business for a long time and still stepping.
Oh God, what a hypocrite. Oh
What
my
a hypocrite.
God.
And then what happened, I don't know. He just stopped talking to me. He broke his clavicle when he was snowboarding up at Tahoe last winter. And he got really hard on himself because he took the opiates that were prescribed for healing, like you were talking about, Monica.
Yeah.
You need these. You need these.
Wow, that's painful. Like
Yeah.
I broke an ankle once. And man, until I got cast, it was brutal. It was like
Well, it's
right up
getting
the-
crazy out there. I recently fractured 4 ribs, and
Yes.
my primary care doctor refused to give me pain medication. And I have lung disease,
I see a
so
pain
it's really
specialist.
dangerous not to be able to breathe. I
Wow.
would absolutely give me any pain medication.
Yeah, they're nuts.
Wow.
The whole opioid thing, they really have taken it. It's gone back to like with prohibition. Like there are people, I know so many older people that had shoulder surgeries, and unless you have a decent doctor, they wouldn't give my friend. So she was playing pickleball with, her other 60-year-old friends having
That's
a
why I fractured my ribs playing pickleball.
Well, I see a pain specialist, so I'm good to go there.
Oh, Boo, shut up, doggy. Kevin, just put him outside. or something.
But
Um,
he got really hard on himself for taking the opioids for acute pain, and I said, no, that's what they're for. And all of a sudden he said, I can't talk to you anymore. And I didn't know. I mean, he literally said those words. I thought it was then he just had to hang up, but he really meant he couldn't talk to me anymore.
he can't talk to you anymore.
And he ghosted me. I mean, no more. He cut me off Facebook, Instagram. I can't even see pictures of his dog anymore. And it's really sad. He lives in San Francisco. He's going to be in town though.
I'm gonna have to run shortly, but Monica, I wanted to check out something we talked about before, which is to try to get on that Little Bit Culty podcast. They seem to have a pretty broad audience, and it's the perfect name because AA is more than a little bit culty. It seems to me that they'd be interested in at least doing one segment on it.
Yeah, I've reached out to them, and so I'm working at it. We hope
Keep me
it
posted.
works. But I'm glad you're able to join us. So
right.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll keep you posted on what's going on. I'm going to be back to being a lawyer. I'll try to get some lawyers interested again.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Sure, we can record another. We're going to record something. Remember the time we did it with the pilots? But we
Oh
didn't
yeah,
record it?
absolutely.
Yeah, we can do more stuff. Okay.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye, Larry. Bye.
Bye, Larry.
All right. So
Kyle's a stepper, but I found smart, and I actually, I'm a facilitator. I don't facilitate. I haven't since the beginning of COVID, but I took the course and I had a regular meeting that I was running once a week at a hospital. So then when COVID came, I couldn't do that.
Well,
But
on the note, Julie, because the people are going to be out there listening to this, and maybe people don't know about SMART. So why don't you just take a couple of 2-3 minutes and tell, like you're talking to somebody who knows nothing. Tell us about SMART. What is SMART?
SMART stands for self-management and recovery training. And rather than 12 steps of AA or NA, there are 4 points, and I can't even remember them. I've stepped away for a little bit, but I'm right now myself living points 3 and 4, and number 4 is living a balanced life. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I
live a balanced life.
I don't drink. I enjoy cannabis.
I am just
I'm retired.
So I got the book. I'm
Love
gonna
my cat. There it is, Smart Recovery.
So
Handbook. Yes.
let's just talk a little bit. I have the booklet. This costs $10, and it was.
I think
I've
it's
been shocked
12 now.
At they have coping. They have workbooks. I mean, this is a real program. It is a real program, and I want to go back to AA. So
on your own.
I'm going to wrap. Yeah, I just think we ought to come back to, and it's okay that we talk about all this stuff, because what your son is doing to you is what anyone who's in a cult, if you leave Jehovah Witnesses, they all will, it's banning, you get, what is the word with, there's like all these, I know for Scientology, NXIVM, it happened. Scientology, it's very, very big. And in AA, it's huge. Like I lost friends when I left AA that I never thought I would lose. These were friends from when I was 18, 19, 20 years old.
Right.
And I was in my early 50s when I left. And then there were people who I expected them to cancel me. That's the new word now. And that did-
Cancel and ghosting. That's what he's
that
doing.
stuff is terrible.
Canceled me. It's terrible.
Evelyn, Evie, you got something? I saw you looking up. You want to say?
I'm gonna step away for a minute.
Okay,
All right.
go ahead, Evie.
I don't know. I think I lost my train of thought, but I think, you know, if we could, what I try to do is focus on the cult aspect and never mind the addiction recovery aspect. And one of the things that I got from Ken Anderson's latest book is that since the 1900s, they've been using addiction treatment as a scam for a very long time.
Mm,
Like the Towns Hospital where
Yeah.
Bill Wilson went,
yeah,
the Towns guy was a total psychopath scammer.
really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Ken has a
absolutely.
new book out. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's kind of hard to read because it's all facts. It's just like facts. But what the point is that people have been using addiction, you know, recovery or fixing addictions as a way to make money easily
Yeah.
by scamming the public for a very long time.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
like
so
snake
Wilson just
oil.
jumped on it. Wilson jumped on it. And what I think Ken said, I don't know where I heard this, but what Wilson was doing was he was going to detox them and then put them in his program. And then that failed because they were all dying.
Right.
So then he decided to get the hospitals involved, which are now the treatment centers. And then AA is the aftercare. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but they give him the book.
Wilson's plan, and Wilson's plan was all about money. It had nothing to do with helping anybody. He didn't care that people died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking about a psychopath who, just like the leader of Scientology, Miscavige, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
You don't think these people love to see people die? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other one from Nexium, the guy that's in jail for 120 years.
Keith
He
Raniere.
doesn't care that people die. He's had people murdered.
Yeah,
You know, and so this is the kind of character that Wilson was. And it's following, there's a lot of similarities, you know, in these cults that, you know, we can make, that AA fits right into it. And take out the damn addiction part, because that was just his way of getting people in it.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I have a real problem. You know, it's supposed to be an honest program. You know, we're supposed to be making changes in our life to be better, make amends. But this motherfucker, he left his book royalties 10% to his mistress, Helen Wynn.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
that's the kind of person y'all look up to? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Oh, and how, you know, and how they had to have a whole team of people. I don't know what it was called, but they had their own group of men
yeah,
that used to protect the women at meetings or keep him away from the women at meetings. Because he would pick up every newcomer that walked in that door.
it was
So-
really awful. When he was already had some kind of dementia.
Yeah.
Early on, I met a guy that lives in Long Island. His name was Bob, and he met Bill. He was that old and he had been sober that long. And he said, Monica, it's all true. I was there. They had it like a squad. I mean, I think what's her name wrote about it in her book, which is a pro AA book. I forget which book it is, the one about Bill Wilson's story, but and it was a more recent book, which said he was absolutely heavy duty womanizer. But I'm distracted because I want to bring this in on the cult part, because I think, Evelyn, there is something to this that if we, you know, I wanted to talk about what people disliked or the dangers or whatever. So I was getting ready to do this AMA. AMA is Ask Me Anything on Reddit and subreddit. And I guess so this is an old confidential report from when I was a GSR, which is a general service rep. And I want, if you're out there listening and you don't know about Alcoholics Anonymous, there's all these jobs and no one gets paid. but they get paid a pretty penny if they work in New York. So it was kind of weird. I was looking for different things, like I was saying, oh yeah, there's judges. So they want judges on their board, and they want, you know, people in powerful positions and all these, and they've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
For fucking forever, since the 40s, right? So I get it out and I go to the beginning, and all of a sudden I start to read it, and it's telling you how to live. Like, it's telling you, and I was like, oh wow, humility and sacrifice. Humility and sacrifice, guys. Okay, what does it have to do with a treatment program? And it's so there's this was like one of the guy's stories, but of how you are to do unto others, spiritual program in action, living the traditions. I was like, what the hell is this? And the only thing I'm glad about is that in 2020, they took in way less millions. I saw the report and I was like, I knew that a lot of people were going to leave because of COVID.
Oh,
That
yeah, absolutely.
they were going to sit on this Zoom, and that they were going to go, what the hell am I
They were
doing?
gonna find an exit,
Right,
because now they're not in person
right.
with these, you know, manipulative, controlling sponsors.
Mhm,
They could do, they could say, "Oh, okay, I'm leaving," or call them on the phone or whatever. Bye-bye.
right. Yep.
A lot easier than seeing them in person.
As far as, you know, this kind of like shame and guilt being, you know, somehow treatment, to bounce back to the young lady that you asked me about earlier, Monica. I recall calling her up at a rehab one day. I believe it was actually named after Marty Mann, if I'm not mistaken. And
Oh, it is. Yeah, the man.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Marty Mann Clinic, I believe it was called.
Right.
Well, they're like, well, she's busy right now, so she'll call you back. And that, and so later, you know, I get a call from her. She's like, yeah, I was busy doing my consequence. Like, what the hell does that mean, your consequence? And she's like, well, I wasn't feeling well and I missed an AA meeting. And so they had me on my hands and knees scrubbing the stairs of this
Oh, there you
building.
go.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, how
That's
just
like
how
a Sea Org member. That's what the
just how
Sea
the hell
Org
is that?
members did.
Wow.
Right. Yeah,
There's
no.
another similarity.
But and then now also to
That's what
point
they
of
make
being-
you do here in San Diego. They check you in to get a detox. They immediately have you, put you to work, cleaning the
Huh?
place, top to bottom.
Yeah.
VOA
Really?
here in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
To humble
probably
you.
pay inordinate amounts of money to do work for them for free, so they don't have to hire a freaking janitor or
And
you know, clean up.
meetings from breakfast till dinner.
That's all it is.
That's like,
That's all
weren't
it
you
is.
doing a movie on the treatment industry scam, Monica?
Yeah, I started it in the fall of 2019. And there's a lot of interviews. We went to Florida. We interviewed the journalist from the Orange County Register that covered that story for, you know, the whole body brokering business for 2 years. And I just had to let it go with COVID living here.
Oh, sure.
It was too hard being in Los Angeles. I just really couldn't go forward. But
Right.
now I decided that I could just start doing this and then get people on, you know, interview the same people that I would interview. And then I'm kind
Well,
of,
if you're taping it, right? You're
I'm
gonna have it
taping it.
recorded.
I'm recording it now. And I just uploaded an ex-board member that was in the film, but he's only in it a short time and I had a whole hour. So what I'm doing is I'm going into my film that I own and I'm going to take these long interviews and I'm just uploading them onto
Yeah,
YouTube.
that's great. I saw one last night where you were at the awards, like 2015 or something. You were in Germany or something, and you got interviewed about your
Oh.
film.
Yeah,
I saw that. That was great.
thank you. Yeah, he was good. They were good to me. That was a great experience. And when I was there, they had another one in London. This was horrible. So I was in London. It was like I think it was early of 2017. And I was getting like private messages in Facebook from people in NA in London, and they have massive rapist who's a timer in NA. And she's like, I said, I would come, but I'm like, I think I was leaving the next day. I was getting on a plane and the meeting was like that night. And man, I would have gone to that meeting and then I would have called their version of, you know, with the police in London. Yeah, there's some real serious problems. But when I hear the things like Tiffany said, I remember when I filmed in Louisville, the guys with 15 and 20 years of sobriety were going into the women's prison and taking them to the meeting in this harsh, kind of harsh part of town. And they were giving them blowjobs. Like they
Yeah.
had to, like, that was part of going to the meeting. And then
Yeah.
they would take them back.
I remember that.
I was like, it's not even in my film, right? I mean, well, the girl is. I mean, she tells the story of what happened to
You
her,
tell
but
the story in your film, right?
right, but they're all like, it was happening to like a bunch of them.
Right, right.
I would go back there. I would go back there and film live again. But I
Yeah,
gotta-
when my best friend left, there was a lot of people who reached out to her. And one of the ladies who reached out to her, she actually said somebody at the meeting molested her son.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh
she
my God.
continued to go back there because her sponsor said, oh, take what you need and leave what you don't. Then the same guy who swept my friend's sexual assault under the rug throws out, oh, well, at no point are we supposed to be in public controversy. At no point are we supposed to be under investigation by law enforcement, and throws that out in a business meeting so they can sweep all the shit under the rug. And like me, like, man, I've been debating so hard to like wait for a medallion meeting and wait for all three of these people to like be in there. One of them being my grand sponsor, who literally I found out not just my best friend, but another girl, she made them take blame for their own sexual assault.
Oh my God. Okay.
And like, like the biggest thing to me about step work is a lot of that's trauma work. That should not be
Right.
done with another addict. It
Yeah,
should
exactly.
be done with a damn therapist or
Right.
a
Oh my
psychologist.
This,
I-
Like,
I
And then they
never
have
had
that
a
information to
sponsor,
hold against you.
Thank God.
Yeah. yeah.
that's so bad. That's so bad, Tiffany. So this kind of stuff is still going on. It's really prevalent in the Orlando area in AA and NA, or is there one that you're more?
Yeah, it's pretty much throughout like Orlando, but this particular home group is actually in Longwood. There used to be two groups in Longwood, and this group split away from them. It's actually still working on it, is their name. And yeah, like when I have my cleaning business, right? And I guess I do have like some members, to thank for that, because I still regularly clean their houses, but they accept the fact that there are multiple pathways to recovery. And like,
Right.
we can acknowledge that. We can acknowledge that, they're still in the program and that's what helps them, or they think it helps them, because even my boyfriend's best friend been there for 15 years and he just relapsed recently. So obviously something's not working, but it's just,
My
the
son
fact
actually
that
said to me before that smart recovery doesn't work.
oh,
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
but yeah, like, I mean, they just sweep it under the rug. And like, so funny because like this one guy, he told everyone at the business meeting that someone who has a medical marijuana card is not spiritually fit to run a meeting. But you're a predator, like you're known as the group predator, and you're going to talk about who's spiritually fit? Like, really?
Oh God. Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's a lot of hypocritical stuff. And when my best friend was talking to her medium told her, she said, there's people in that home group they say they have 20 years clean and they don't even have a day clean.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
There's no way to prove it.
Right.
There's no way to prove it.
Yeah.
That woman that I saw at the yoga retreat
Yes.
with the 33 years,
Yes.
when I went up to her later and I apologized, I said, well, I mean, let me just ask you this, because I was really calm. And I said, let's say a member robs another member and there's no place in AA where they can go and report this person,
Yeah.
so there's like some internal. She goes, well, I've seen much worse than that. She said, there's a lot of, so now she's admitting you know, that there's a lot more than just people robbing people. But then I thought, because I used to think that was that was a solution. Like if AA had like somebody that you could go report to, somebody in AA that was like the go-to person. And then, you know, I don't know what, but they have that in Scientology. They have their own internal
Yeah.
group, right? And that doesn't work.
No, that turns out really, that's like the, you know, the what do they call it? The crazies are running the insane asylum. I mean, I think in
Right.
AA, you
But
know,
I mean, you know, that have you been watching the case, or have you heard about the case with the guy from that 70s show?
no, which case?
Well, it was right in LA. It just ended last week because
Oh, the guy.
it
Yeah,
was a hung jury.
right.
It was a
But
hung
that was when Scientology's internal mechanism for controlling, you know, crime within Scientology withheld evidence. It's not like they go to the police with this evidence.
Right.
So part of the issue was these crimes happened back in the early 2000s, and now, you know, they're going to court now 20 years later.
Hmm.
So I was just
yeah.
thinking that wouldn't work in AA because they would do the same thing.
Yeah, they can't go to the police because the police are part of it. I mean, it's kind of like this Balenciaga shit, you know, they're all a part of it. And like for all this time, people are like, no, Tiffany, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. And oh, here we have the Balenciaga ad being pushed in front of our faces. They're all part of it. Like they're all, and it's all about money.
It's all about money, right? The police get paid off.
Well, I think the one thing that was scary for me was going to the police station with Rosie, who is just a very short snippet in the movie. And she was gay, and she really she was so traumatized because she had incredibly abusive parents. And she wound up in a home for children because she was so abused, and she was taken away by the state and put there. She finally gets out and she's living her life, and she's in this freaking meeting in Culver City where this guy who turns out was raping women. I had women come to me, but nobody would go to the police back then. And he was grabbing her, and she didn't want to be touched. And, you know, she just said, I can't, you know, she couldn't handle it. And it was like, so I said, okay, do you want to go to the police? And she said, yes. And so we went, and they said, well, that isn't anything. We can't do anything. I was like, what? There's a name for it. It's called battery. Like there's levels of touching, right? Yeah. So I grab your boob. You can't fucking grab my boob, you know, in an AA meeting. And that shit is going on. That was going on all the time. It was going on in the Pacific Group meetings by Clancy, the leader. I mean, women came to me and told me, but you know, it's like, even the police were like, well, you know, it's not really enough. And I'm like, well, what is enough? Like, and then I left and we found out that it's battery. Like she could have pressed charges. We could have gone to the, and then I went there and tried to get the flyers and, you know, and warn even the owner of the building that you can be sued if you don't protect the people in here. If AA is not going to do anything, you can start to go after the people who have the buildings in which this stuff is going on, Tiffany. So there are ways we could have a private Zoom to talk about, you know, the legality of what is a crime and what is a civil crime and what they are and what people, and that's separate from this, Evelyn, of like exposing it as a cult, but you just can't be doing this shit and get away with it.
Right. The crimes that are going on, right.
The crimes. And if you are in a rehab, you're out there and you're listening to this Zoom and you have been to a rehab, a sober living where somebody in that place was working there, did stuff to you, that's a crime. It's a civil crime. You can sue them. You can sue the rehab and the sober living. And they all think because they're in AA, they kind of have this special something. And they can just, right?
They're so special. Oh my God, they're so special.
Oh, they're so fucking unspecial.
But there is a reason why, because this woman also said to me, well, you know, they can go to the police if they want to. They can always go to the police. And then I thought about that later, and she's right. They can go to the police, but they're all the rapes and the whatever that happens in AA, they don't go to the police. And why is that? It's because they don't have the self-esteem to do it.
You know, the police are sent to AA now. Do you know the police when he gets into trouble? They've been getting sent there in different cities and states. So let's talk about, we got a few minutes left, like 5 minutes left,
I
about
would just say-
language. So
okay,
what is
you-
the one thing? Okay, you want to say something, Tiffany?
This is just one other thing in our area. A big issue is conventions, because a lot of people will go a couple cities over and stay in a hotel for these big conventions that are held at these hotels. Well, they get newcomers and they tell them that at a convention that their clean time pauses. So then they take them to the room and they try to get them under the influence. So basically 5 of them can, and I actually know of a girl, 5 of them literally. Yeah, actually at DACNA, Daytona Area Beach for Narcotics Anonymous, and they tell them their clean time pauses at a convention, so they can keep their clean time once the convention's over. Yeah.
Okay.
That's nuts. That's nuts. All right. So language is something that they all agree on. Like if you watch The Vow, if you watch Mark Vincente talk and Nippy and, and everybody and Leah Remini and Mike Rinder and even the guy who from Scientology has this new YouTuber. The language is key. So let's just like throw out liners like, well, he went out where? What does that mean? He went
Yeah.
out. What is some of the stupid language that's used in AA?
Backsliding.
Backsliding, right.
You're a
Down the slippery
retread.
slope.
You're a retread.
Retread.
A pigeon. You're a pigeon.
Dry drunk.
Yeah. Dry
Oh, the dry drunk. Oh, God.
Yeah, don't drive me crazy.
Oh, my God almighty.
Your disease is doing push-ups in the parking lot.
Yeah,
That's your disease talking.
Yeah,
yeah,
your
yeah.
disease is
The
gone.
ism. Everything is the ism.
Those are too many to count.
Oh, Lordy.
Well, even the term relapse,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
I've even taken it
relapse.
so far as to wonder, is anybody really an alcoholic? Well, that word really doesn't
Right.
mean anything.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh.
bad. Like labeling people so young. Like
Oh, yeah,
the
so
one-
young.
like remember Tina Dupre, who was on the This American Life, where she said that they were bringing her to meetings from foster care at 13 and said that she had an alcoholic thinking. Remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in the
yeah.
80s?
Right, right.
You have alcoholic thinking, which means you're going to become an alcoholic. I was
Yeah,
like,
right,
And we get it from our family.
right.
My son said to me, I got it from you, Mom.
I got it from you, bastard.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is that children learn from their parents. I mean, that's the way it goes. These 2 people are the ones that you watch to
Right?
see how to be a human being. And so I grew up watching my father use alcohol. That was his thing, it was his way of having fun. And so, when I became a teenager, I wanted to try it.
mhm.
Of course. Yeah, I was
You know what I
drinking
mean?
very
Because I
young.
wanted to be like my dad,
Behavioral.
For
Yes,
me,
Right.
it
As far as
behavioral thing.
passing the genes.
You remember if
If it was a gene thing, they would have found it by
Hereditary.
now.
right, yeah, it's
Right.
not genetic.
That's right.
yeah.
Such
But
a-
for me, I
Got it
always
from me.
wanted to know like what was so great about like this substance that that my parents abandoned me. That's where I can like that's why I wanted to try it. I'm like, what's so great about it? That you left your kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
right.
that's how I've always thought about it. Like, what's
Right.
so
It must be pretty good.
I gotta try it. Like
Right.
so
Well,
yeah,
it's the human nature to be curious, especially
Right.
when you're a teenager,
That's
right?
right.
Because drinking when you're underage was a mark of being an adult.
Right.
Drinking and smoking. Oh, yeah, I'm an adult now.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
So that,
Right.
Well, at least when I was
curiosity.
18, I do think there's a problem with the age that if we had the age back at 18 for drinking, there would be less deaths with opioids and there would be less of a problem with pills because pills you can't smell, you can hide them so easily. And
That's a good
I just think that alcohol really, they've made they made too much of it. And teaching moderation or kind of throwing it away and saying it's no big deal. I mean, I made the mistake with my kids and lucky for me, I got out.
Right.
because it did cause a problem, like not when they were little, but teenage, because I was still in it. I was still very brainwashed, but fortunately, I got away, and then, I was, it took time. Like, they were mad at me about some things, but I
Sure.
mean, and really mad at me, but I was also really sorry. And they saw what the hell I was doing. I was going to make a movie to undo everything I did, and not, thank God I didn't bring them to meetings as children or when they were little. Like, who's that stand-up comic, Doug Stanhope, who tells, his mother brought him to all those meetings. But I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And I
All
really,
right.
thank you guys. We'll do it
Thank you.
again. Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, Evie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Monica.
Julie, Walter. And we'll do some more of this stuff and keep in touch. And
Yeah, I'll be watching your videos.
all right.
So now you know my handle, because I've been
Okay.
saying stuff and you've been answering, and I can tell you didn't know it was me.
No, I didn't. So thank you for telling me that you're
You were a
undercover.
little too polite. I said, oh, she doesn't know it's me.
Blue butterfly. I love it. Okay,
All
guys.
right, have a good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everybody. Good
Hello.
night.
Bye-bye.
We'll just say goodbye to the YouTubers. Thank you, everybody, tonight for watching us, and please share everywhere. Subscribe. I'm trying to build my channel to get to 1,000, because then you're in some other sphere. Let's see.
I saw you on Reddit, by the way.
Oh,
I
you did?
responded to, I'm Imperial Beach Babe.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I was just my first time really getting involved.
Okay,
That
yeah,
was
I don't go there much, but
good. Yeah. All right.
okay,
All right. Good luck with your
Adios.
son.
yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I hope so. It's hard.
I'm meeting his father first thing in the morning and giving his father his small Christmas gift that I'm giving him. He's still my kid.
Right, of course. All right, everybody.
Love him. Okay, bye.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Walter. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you again next time. Good night.